right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Free. I'm Ryan. I'm the pastor and executive director here, and this is Carrie. She is the associate executive director here. Welcome to all of you on this beautiful Christmas Eve service evening. We always do Christmas Eve services here the Saturday before Christmas Eve. We do recognize that Christmas Eve is on, is it Wednesday? It's on Wednesday, the 24th of December, but we roll a little differently here at Free. Are you all good with it? All right, let me let you know if you're new with us. This is a community for addicts, loved ones of addicts, and spiritual refugees. And what we do here is break the silence of addiction while creating space for healing, recovery, and spiritual connection. And there is always one thing we don't do. You can shout it out on the count of three. All four words, all together. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. We don't do shame. By the way, our online people, see, I'm still getting used to, we're live streaming at 5 o'clock now rather than at 7 o'clock. So welcome to all of you. We're glad you're joining us, whatever state you're from, whatever living room you're sitting in, or maybe sober living, maybe a treatment center. We're glad you're here, glad you're part of this community. So jump on in, make yourselves at home. Carrie, do you want to tell us just a couple of things coming up?
Yes. We actually don't have a lot coming up. But can you guys hear me? You can hear me? Okay.
How fun was the Christmas party in the parking lot last night?
I still have so much sugar, and we're going to put some cookies out later, too, in between services.
I didn't need any sugar.
We have a program of rigorous honesty around here.
All right.
But that being said, we didn't eat all of them, and that we will have some in between service to pass out. There was so much sugar last night. It was unbelievable. And if you are new with us, welcome. We are glad that you're here. This is probably my most favorite service of the entire year. So if this is how you come in the door, welcome. You're in the right place. We would love to connect with you after service. Just outside of these bags, you'll find some of our
outside of these doors.
What did I say? Bags?
Bags. I mean,
it's
that works
the sugar.
too.
It's the sugar hangover. Just outside of these doors, you will find some bags. That inside the bags, you'll find some fresh roasted Wagon coffee from the extraordinary Tammy Kennedy and her team at Wagon Coffee, as well as some free swag and our meeting schedule. If you scan the QR code on the back there, you can sign up for our newsletter. You can find out all the different things that we have coming up throughout the week, throughout the month. You'll find out who the guest storyteller is each week. And you can also go on Amazon through the link there to buy Mr. Kennedy's book. So if you're online and you're not here in person, you can buy the book also on that QR code and on our website. And, don't come next week, friends. We are not going to be here. So next Saturday, we are having a rest week. So each year, we do this twice a year, once in July, once in December. The entire building will remain open. So if you attend a meeting here normally, those will still be happening. But the staff and the volunteers, we will not be here, including the cafe. The cafe will also be closed.
It's one of 2 weeks each year that we will tell you not to come.
Well, you can come, but we won't be here.
Yes.
So they can still come if they want.
I guess you can, yeah.
It's not all about us, Ryan.
Totally do you, boo.
And that's all I got for you.
Thank you, Carrie. All right, before we get into celebrations, this is, since we do things a little differently here at Free during this season, it's technically that last week of Advent, which is the week of love. But for us, it's also Christmas Eve. So we're going to light all Christmas candles, all Advent candles, including the center Christ candle. So Shua and Savannah, if you want to join me up here and join us, lead us in a prayer, light all the candles. If you remember Advent is the 4 weeks leading up to Christmas. Do you need a mic, Shua? Jimmy, can we get that mic? I'll use that one. Just keep that one there. All right.
Good evening. Tonight, we light all the candles as we celebrate God's light bursting into the world. This light is for all of us. Every addict and alcoholic, every loved one of an addict or alcoholic, every spiritual refugee who has struggled to belong, every person who has ever asked, God, why do you feel so distant? The Christ candle reminds us of the possibility of new life that exists within each of us. It reminds us that God is near. The Christ candle reminds us that we are to be the light breaking through the darkness.
Thank you, Shua and Savannah. All right, y'all, the way we get started here at Free on a Saturday night is with celebrations. We start with the good, we lift up the good. Maybe you're here tonight celebrating a sobriety anniversary or a birthday or whatever the new thing in your life or recovery is, new jobs, new homes, new babies, whatever the new thing is, we celebrate it all here. We take 3 minutes for this. Jess will be on this side. Jim will be on this side. If you're online, drop your celebrations in the YouTube comments or Facebook comments, whichever platform you're joining us from, and we'll join with you there. We take 3 minutes. Just raise up your hand, and they'll get you a mic, and this time is yours.
Talia, alcoholic addict. I just celebrated a year clean and sober on Thursday.
Way to go, Leila. Congratulations.
And I'm here with my mom. That's always a blessing.
All right, here with Mom. We'll celebrate that too. Welcome.
Hi, my name is Christine, and I'm here with my husband and some dear friends. And I just want to say that my husband quit smoking cigarettes 8 days ago, and he's not going back. And I am so proud of him, and I am down to a third of what I usually smoke, and I'm going to be done by the end of this year.
All right, Christine and Gerald.
My name is Josh, and I'm celebrating 18 months sober today.
Way to go, Josh. Congratulations, brother.
I'm happy I transitioned to high school.
All right, we'll celebrate that.
My name's Andrew, and I'm celebrating 15 days of everything.
All right, dude. Glad you're here.
My name's Peyton. I'm an addict, and I won't be here to celebrate my 90 days with you guys next week, but I'm 84 days clean today, so.
All right, 84 days, Peyton. Congratulations.
My name's Cadence, and I finished my first semester of high school with a 4.3 GPA.
All right, Cadence, congratulations.
Hey, I'm Zach. I help facilitate the Back to Basics group that meets here once a month, where we do all 12 steps in one day. We have the last one tomorrow, and this will put us over. We've already helped over 200 people go through all 12 steps in one day right here at Free.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you, Zach, for your work in that, dude. Good stuff, man.
Hi, my name is Leila. I am celebrating 227 days clean and sober.
Leila.
Hi, I'm Jennifer, and I have 2 years clean next month.
All right, way to go, Jennifer.
Hi, my name is Daniel. I'm 15 days off of cigarettes today.
All right, Daniel. Congratulations, ma'am.
My name's Catherine, and last week I asked for prayers for my mom because she literally lives on a mountaintop in the middle of nowhere, and she works and lives off solar power, and her panels were off, so she had no power, and this week she got solar panels and power, so she has power, which it's a really big deal when you don't have power. So.
Yeah, it's a big deal. Yeah. Sometimes you don't realize how good it is until it's gone. Tammy Canada, you want to join me up here? Woo!
Rowdy people here
You
tonight.
look very good tonight, by the way.
Thank you, my love. Thank you.
I won't make things awkward, but you look real good tonight. Okay. Shall we join with our online people?
Yes.
You want the first one? Can you see?
I do.
Okay.
I think we're close enough, yes.
All right.
Jamie says, Jamie, alcoholic, celebrated 4 months on December 10th.
Way to go, Jamie. Congratulations. Erica's with us tonight. She says, by the grace of God, I have 93 days sober today, and God has blessed me with a new job that I really wanted, and I will be starting Monday after Christmas. Congratulations, Erica.
And Ashley says, Ash from rehab celebrating 21 days.
21 days. Way to go, Ashley. Renee, 138 days clean today. Happy 138, Renee.
Way to go, Renee.
All right, that's all we have. Thank you, Tammy. Oh, yeah, you can go that way. Whew. It's Christmas Eve. And we're also in this last week of this series, which is called Unexpected Gifts, the gifts we didn't expect. Take a look. So, you know, Christmas Eve is, it's often talked about as the night that light comes breaking into the darkness, and I believe that it's true. But I want you to be aware of this tonight. God's light doesn't only shine, it makes room for every addict and every loved one of an addict and everyone who's ever asked the question, do I really belong? You know, I remember one of my last drunk Christmases. Anyone have those? Yeah, one of my last drunk Christmases. I remember it. And what I remember was I was exhausted and I wasn't alone, but I was lonely and I didn't really know what I believed anymore. I wasn't sure, which is always interesting to reflect on because the night before that, which would have been Christmas Eve, well, I was preaching at 5 different Christmas Eve services at the church where I was serving as pastor. And I can also tell you that that Christmas day, it was a good day. I mean, we got up together as a family and we opened presents together and we had a feast together. We ate a lot because that's the way the Canada Days roll on Christmas. And it was a good day, but we had family in town, and my grandma, she was staying with us. She was staying at our house that night. And do you know what I remember? You'll be so proud of me. Because on the day before, which would have been Christmas Day, I did not go to the liquor store to stock up on booze for Christmas Day. I know, right? Big boy, big day. And here's the problem. The problem is, on Christmas night, well, night came upon us, as it does. And by 5 o'clock that night, I was restless, irritable, and discontent. And the bigger problem was, I knew that in the Canada household, we only had 1 bottle of wine. And for an alcoholic like me, that's not going to cut it. And I also knew that the liquor stores were closed, so I couldn't go to a liquor store, and I couldn't exactly just go up to a bar because it's Christmas Day, and I got family, and my grandma's in town. But 7-Eleven, I knew, was open down the street, and I think they serve alcohol. So I drive up to the 7-Eleven, and I walk into the 7-Eleven, and I immediately get a resentment because at least at that time, they only sold 3-2 beer. 3-2 beer, but I'm in a bit of a pinch. And so I buy a 12-pack of that 3-2 beer, and I drive back home, and I put that 12-pack of 3-2 beer in the cold, dark garage so that it stays cool. And then I go in, and every few minutes, I'm slipping out into the garage to chug a beer. Tammy tells me that when I was drinking, I was like the great Houdini. I would be here and present one moment, and then I would disappear. And I'd be here, and then I would disappear. And do you all know, I remember standing in that cold, dark garage, chugging a beer, leaning against my car, and having this thought of, man, I hate myself. I hate myself. Man, I'm a pastor, and I can't even make it through Jesus' birthday without a drink. I can also tell you all at that time, I was not making room for God. I didn't know how. The truth was, at that time in my life, I was still a little bit mad at God for my brother's death, and so I had to keep a safe distance from God. I could learn about God and read about God and even preach about God, but I had to keep distance from God, especially at Christmas time, when things were darker in my life. And I could hold the candle on Christmas Eve and hold it high, and at the same time pray that this light isn't bright enough for me to truly be seen. And I had this sneaking suspicion that I didn't really belong. It's a feeling I carried with me from the age of 5, and I was not making room for God because I didn't know how anymore. Addiction totally took that from me. And what I know now is that even in that cold, dark garage, God was making room for me. Because isn't it true? At some point, God's light gets bright enough that not even the darkness can exist. And do you know, I remember going into those first AA meetings, my 12-step meetings, early in the morning. And I would walk in there, and they would always say the same thing to me before and after the meeting. They would tell me, Ryan, you belong. You belong. You belong. And I get angry in my head with it. I'm thinking to myself, how do you know I belong? How do you know I haven't done anything yet? I haven't worked any steps yet. Nothing in my life has been fixed yet. How do you know I belong? And God's light doesn't only shine in the darkness, it makes room. And let's talk about a little bit of Christmas history. Some of you all will find this absolutely fascinating. Did you know for the first 1,200 years of Christianity, Christmas was not the big feast? It was totally secondary at best. The big feast for the first 1,200 years was Easter, death and resurrection. Now, around the year 1200, a man came on the scene. You might recognize his name. Francis of Assisi. Francis of Assisi said, around the year 1200, he said, wait a minute, maybe we're getting it all wrong. Maybe we're doing it wrong. Like, maybe we don't have to wait for Easter, death and resurrection, and he's not knocking death and resurrection and Easter. It's a good thing. These are good spiritual themes. These are important, especially in your life for recovery. But maybe he had this wild idea. God loved us from the very beginning, and God demonstrated this love to us through what's called the incarnation, God becoming one of us, born among us, born into the darkness through the birth of Jesus Christ. And Francis, very interesting, because Christmas only started becoming popular in the 13th century. And Francis and those Franciscans, they were like a rowdy bunch of people. Very rowdy. I mean, they were fasting all the time and praying all the time. But then on Christmas Day, they went absolutely bananas. On Christmas Day, Francis says, this is the feast of feasts. And apparently, Francis was no vegetarian, because Francis said on Christmas Day, I want even the walls to eat meat. He said every tree should be decorated with lights to proclaim to the world that light truly does shine in the darkness, and that God is with us in the darkness. And isn't it interesting? That's what we do around the world still 800 years later. What do? We do silly things like put lights in trees. Why? It's not just because it's pretty, though it is pretty. Very pretty. But it proclaims to the world that light does shine in the darkness, and God is with us in the mess and the darkness. But God's light doesn't just shine, it makes room. And isn't it interesting, in the Christmas story as told in the Gospels, all the characters involved, before anyone believes or behaves or understands, God makes room. God makes room. Like you might remember from 2 weeks ago, we looked at the Christmas story, leading up to the Christmas story, through the lens of Joseph, who is Jesus' father. Do you remember this? Joseph, he finds out Mary, his fiancée, is pregnant. And Joseph says, wait a minute, I know how this stuff works, and that baby ain't mine. We didn't do that thing. That baby ain't mine. And Joseph's very frustrated. He says to Mary, how could you do this to us? Why would you go and do me this way? He's frustrated with God. God, why would you shatter my plans like this? This is not the life I planned. I didn't plan for it to go down this way. And you know I'm a righteous man. I've done everything you've asked me to do, and you do this? And he decides he's going to quietly leave Mary. And you can imagine Joseph saying, God, I do not belong in this story. And Joseph falls asleep. Thank God for divine intervention. Then an angel comes and says, Joseph, I want you to stay. I want you to stay with Mary because God is doing something so much bigger than you. It's bigger than you could ever imagine. And then Joseph wakes up and he surrenders to the moment. And he takes Mary as his wife. And that's how the story starts. And then do you remember last week we looked at the story through the lens of Mary, Jesus' mother. And an angel came to her too. And do you remember the first words the angel spoke? Rejoice. Rejoice, Mary. You are carrying good news in your body, and you're going to give birth to a child. And this baby boy, it's going to change everything. And Mary didn't rejoice. No, she was probably a lot like you and me. She was filled with fear and confusion, and she had all kinds of questions. And she says, God, how can this be? God, have you forgotten? I am a nobody girl from the nobody town of Nazareth, and I don't have anything. My family, my people, we don't have anything. And God, I don't belong in this story. And thank God for divine intervention, because the angel says to her, Mary, don't be afraid. And God is going to overshadow your fears and the story you're spinning in your head. And this God is, nothing is impossible for this God. And God is going with you. And do you remember Mary ultimately says, all right, here I am, God. Let's do this. And you might be thinking, by the time you get to this point of the story, maybe things will start to make sense. Like Joseph is fully on board and Mary is fully on board, and maybe the story will make sense. The rest of the characters in the story, they're going to be the ones who believe right and behave right, and they have their lives together. And maybe even God will start working in some of the religious leaders into the story and some of the religious and cultural high places into the story. So Joseph and Mary are in Nazareth, and they're journeying towards Bethlehem to partake in the census. It was put out, it was a command by the Roman emperor. And here's where the story picks up. See if it makes sense. While they were there, the time came for Mary to have her baby. She gave birth to her firstborn child, a son, wrapped him snugly, and laid him in a throne. Laid him in a palace. No, that's not what it says. Laid him in a manger because there was no place for them in the guest room. And just pause there for a moment. Like, what is happening in this story? Mary's in labor, giving birth to the best news in the world, and there's no room for them. What is happening here? And let's give the story just one more chance, because maybe the ones who will first come to welcome Jesus, maybe they will be the ones who have their lives together. Maybe they will be the ones like who have good jobs and they have some status in their lives and they have no fear. Maybe the story will make sense. Here's how it goes. Nearby shepherds were living in the fields, guarding their sheep at night. The Lord's angel stood before them. The Lord's glory shone around them, and they were terrified. The angel said, "Don't be afraid. Look, I bring good news to you, wonderful, joyous news for some people." I mean, all people. Your Savior is born today in Bethlehem. When the angels returned to heaven, the shepherds said to each other, "Let's go right now to Bethlehem and see what's happened. Let's confirm what the Lord has revealed to us." They went quickly and found Mary and Joseph and the baby lying in a manger. And we'll just stop there. I mean, what is happening? The good news is first announced to shepherds. Do you know who shepherds are? These are like day laborers. This is the working class. These are hired hands. They don't even own any land. These shepherds worked for long stretches of time outdoors, away from stable community. And listen, it wasn't that shepherds didn't care about God. It was that the religious system didn't have much room for them. And maybe you know exactly what that's like. And you say, wait a minute, Ryan, what do you mean the religious system didn't have room for shepherds? Well, because shepherds, they were in constant contact with animals, which meant they were not able to participate in the first century Jewish purity laws. So the religious leaders were always telling them, you're unclean. You're not welcome here. They would rarely be allowed to go in the temple, rarely allowed to participate in any religious life. So they had no social status, no economic status, certainly no religious status. And yet they were the first ones to run towards the light. And God's light doesn't just shine, it makes room. And who does it make room for? It is not the impressive, the put together, the ones who just have their faith totally dialed in. No. Makes room for people like Joseph, whose life gets turned upside down and he has all these unexpected twists and turns. It makes room for people like Mary, who in the biggest moment of her life, she feels small and she's overwhelmed. It makes room for people like the shepherds, who were constantly viewed with suspicion, and the religious system kept them out. And I mention these things to say to you, do you see who this Christmas story is for? And if God makes room for them, is it possible that God makes room for you? And y'all, I do get it. Christmas Eve services, well, it seems to attract. They will be filled with people who are really good at hiding. I mean, think about it. We get dressed up a little bit. I even wore a button-down shirt for Jesus' birthday. We get dressed up a little bit. We can even put on the fake smile. We can sing joy to the world. The Lord has come. And then on that same day, we can be standing alone in a cold, dark garage by ourselves. Is it true? And some of you are here tonight, and I've seen you. You look really good on the outside. You look good on the outside, and maybe on the inside, you are the most lonely person in the room. And maybe on the inside, you are filled with shame for your past or even your present, and it's the kind of shame that keeps telling you, it keeps screaming at you how much you don't belong in the story, and you're wondering what you're doing here. And for some of you, you are still sitting here thinking to yourself, yeah, but Ryan, you don't understand. If they really knew my story, if they knew my trauma, my relapse, my resentment, my past, my doubt, then they would know that I don't really belong. And Ryan, how can you just stand up there and say, I belong? You don't know me. You don't know my story. But I do know God's light shines in the darkness, but not only that, it makes room. And maybe you're here tonight because someone invited you to come with them, or maybe it was guilt that dragged you in, or maybe it was tradition that said, no, you got to go tonight. You got to go to that Christmas Eve service, and you got to go again on Easter. That's what tradition tells you. But you're still thinking to yourself, yeah, but I'm not really sure what I believe, and I'm not really sure what I'm doing here. And Christmas says you belong. Christmas says you belong before you have it figured out, before you believe or behave, or before your recovery is perfected. Christmas says you belong. God does not wait for you to make room for God. God is making room for you, and for some of you, that is just simply too good to be true. Do you know last night at our Christmas party in the parking lot, I met Dre. Man, he's got a powerful story. Dre was, he was here because one of our sponsors for that event was Elevate Recovery, and Dre works for Elevate Recovery. And I met him here at the front doors, and I didn't know who he was. But man, he was so excited to be here. He says he's only seen me on Facebook, but he was really excited to meet me. And I started asking him some of his story. And y'all, it's been a long time since I've seen someone that excited about their recovery. He's coming up on a year clean and sober. And he's telling me this story about how he's got past with prison, in and out of prison, and drugs, and alcohol, and gangs, and violence. And then you know what he says to me? He says, Ryan, man, I just got done having dinner with my mom. He said, I'm 50 years old. 50 years old, but I went to her place where she lives, and I had dinner with her in the cafe, and he reaches in his back pocket, and he pulls out these business cards. If you were here last night, you know he was very proud of these business cards. He said, look at it, they even got my picture on it. He said, can you believe it? They gave me business cards. And he said, I was showing my mom these business cards, and she was so proud of me. It's the first time I ever knew how proud of me she was, and she started to cry. And then she took this stack of business cards and started handing them out to her friends, and I said, Ma, I got to pay for those cards. And I asked Dre, I said, Dre, and I don't know why I asked this question. It's the one that came to mind. I said, what was it that changed? Like, when was the moment that things changed, and what was that moment? What was the aha moment? He said, people believed in me, and they saw things in me that I couldn't yet see. And we talk a lot about believe in God. Believe in God. Oh, you got to believe in God. You got to have faith, and it's true. But is it possible that God believes in you? Is it possible that God sees things in you that you cannot yet see in yourself? And I'll close with this. You know, as that little baby boy, Jesus, as he grew to be older, he was known for his teachings, teaching the people a new way. And he always spoke through these short stories called parables. And in one of these parables, he's speaking about God as a good, check out this image, shepherd. Well, you know who shepherds are. What an interesting image to use. He talks about God as a good shepherd, and he tells a story. He says, suppose you were a shepherd and you had 100 sheep and one of them wandered away. He says, wouldn't you drop everything? Wouldn't you give up everything and go on an endless search for that lost sheep of yours? And when he finds it, he is thrilled and places it on his shoulders. When he arrives home, he calls together his friends and neighbors, saying to them, celebrate with me, because I found my lost sheep. And that's who God is. The God among us, the God born in our darkness, the God who sees us. And see, my brothers and sisters, you might not believe or behave or understand. You might have nothing left. And man, that was me. Addiction took it all from me. I was so exhausted. Man, I was that lost sheep. I had to be picked up. You might have nothing left. You might not know what you believe anymore. Things happened along the way. Things rocked your foundation. And yet you do not have to give up on the God, the good shepherd, who is thrilled to come and pick you up, put you on the shoulders, and carry you home, the place where you belong. And the good shepherd says to you on the journey, while the good shepherd is carrying you, oh, don't worry. When we get home, we are going to celebrate. Yeah, that's who God is. So tonight, you don't have to fix anything. You don't have to prove anything. Just receive the light. Receive the light that's been chasing you. The light that has been in search of you. And if you're wondering whether or not you truly belong, let this night be the answer. And in a few minutes, you're going to hold a candle. That candle is going to shine up on your face. It's going to light you up, because that's what light does. It doesn't just shine in the darkness. It makes room. And let that reminder, I encourage you, take it slow. Don't rush past it. Let that candle, that light, be a reminder to you as it's shining in your face, in the face of your neighbor, that God sees you. We see you. And for every addict or alcoholic or loved one of an addict or alcoholic or spiritual refugee who doesn't know where they stand, what they believe, what they're doing here, you belong. And there's room for you. So here's what we'll do. Before we sing Silent Night and get into the candles, before the great Sarah and Bella Hornbuckle join us, well, I want you to take a moment of reflection. Take a quiet moment, take it in. This song is called Oh Light.
Welcome back, friends. If you're new with us, you should know that every Saturday we invite a community member up into the living room to share a little of their story on the topic at hand, and tonight is no different. When I met Leila, our guest storyteller, for the first time, she actually lit up a room before she even knew it. She is somebody whose story runs so deep, and she has been through so much, and that sense of belonging, it took her a while to actually believe that she could belong here, and she kind of tested the waters for a little bit until she finally stuck around. I cannot wait for you guys to get to know her. Can you please do me a favor and help welcome Leila up to the living room? Hi, friends.
Hi.
How you doing?
Ooh, there's a lot of people here.
Just pretend it's you and I.
Yes, ma'am.
You can't really see most of them anyway, and you can see the front row, but you know all them, so let's just pretend they're not here.
Yeah.
I want to start. Today's a little different because we don't have as much time to get into your story, so I just want to really jump right in. When we spoke, you went into your addiction at quite a young age, and you had said that originally you had started using drugs and alcohol to try to find that belonging that you were always searching for. And then you also said on that it was through that addiction, even at a young age, that you experienced, which is really no surprise, but more abandonment, more betrayal. Can you tell us a little bit of what that looked like in your earlier years?
So I started using drugs probably around age 13, 14, directly into the heavy drugs like crack cocaine. I moved here to Denver from a very small town, and moving here, I had gotten bullied while I was in school, and I found a crowd in school who used drugs and alcohol, and got in with them, and it was then that I was able to fit in because I did what they were doing. And it took me really quickly. My addiction took me high school. I mean, I don't remember going to high school. I remember arriving at high school, but I also remember ditching to go outside to smoke.
And that went on for several years, and addiction took so much out of you. But I want to actually focus on your recovery story, if you don't mind, because that's where I remember the day you walked in here, and you would come religiously every single week until you didn't. Can you tell us a little bit about what it was like coming into Free for the first time, and then what was it that made you not believe that that belonging was really real?
I had left a really abusive relationship when I found Free, and I was in treatment, and I was so excited to come to church. They didn't tell me what Free was. And when I got here and heard Pastor Ryan, first of all, seeing Pastor Ryan, this man that's got tattoos and like looked just like one of us, I felt at home here. And then I was really good at blaming people in my addiction, for my addiction. And when I left last time, I had walked into Free, and I was drunk and high. And I sat in the chair, and my dad was with me, and he got really upset with me that night because I stood up and lied to everyone that I had 91 days clean and sober. when I had just relapsed that day.
And he got up and walked out,
And
right?
he got up and walked out. And that was the last time I came to free until 2 days before I got clean and sober this time. But
And what did that look like? How did you know you could come back here?
Going back out into addiction, knowing the community that I had, it was extremely hard this last time because I knew I didn't belong out there. And I would always jump on Facebook, and I was a gambler in my addiction, but I always had free on my news feed. And I would always jump on Saturday nights and just like ache to get back here. Sorry. And then I came back in here to tell Pastor Ryan that I was going to treatment, and I did. 2 days later, I went into treatment, and I've been clean and sober ever since.
And one of the things that I love so much about you is you really do have a contagious personality where you just, literally like what Ryan was saying, like you can light up the dark. And today you actually give back. Can you tell us a little bit about what you do now in your active recovery?
Yes, I am co-owner of Fourth Dimension Recovery with my fiance, Jimmy Reed. And we literally bring people off the streets and give them a place where they can belong, and we meet them where they are. We'll have 7 homes next month, and we just continue to keep growing, and every day I get to remember what it felt like and what I feel like today, and free is a major part of my recovery. And just the abandonment that I've always felt my whole life, I feel like God has finally placed me right where I'm supposed to be with all the people that are lost in the dark.
And again, I could sit here and talk to you for so much longer. So there's actually so much more of her story. Like I said, she's here almost every single week. I would highly encourage you guys to get to know her, listen to her story, and really just hear about just like to go inside and like hear a little bit more of her heart. But what I really wanted to, because tonight is the 5 p.m. is now live streamed, and that was such a part of your story. That person who's still out there, who can't make it through the doors, the person who's watching online, the person who watches the replay, to the person who is still out there fighting to believe they belong. What message of hope can you leave with them tonight?
If you still have breath in your lungs, you still have a flicker of light. Let it shine. I thought mine was out, and it wasn't. And when I allowed myself to shine is when I'm able to be the light for everyone else.
Thank you so much, Leila. And again, I'm so honored to be your friends. Can you guys give it up for Leila?
Leila, I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Yes, sir.
All right, y'all, we're working things in a bit of a different order tonight. So before we get into Silent Night and holding the candles, by the way, does each person in this room have a candle? Okay, if you don't have a candle, raise up your hand and someone will bring you a candle. And if you're at home and you're going to join us for Silent Night, find a candle in your home if you've got one and light it with us, because we're going to light up the dark. But before we do that, I want to, every week we do what we call heartaches. Heartaches are kind of like celebrations, except they're the opposite. And maybe you're carrying around a burden, and you've been trying to carry this thing alone, and you find out you don't have to carry it alone. You've got a community full of people walking with you. We have a God who hears the cries of the people. So if you have a burden that you are carrying and you need to put words to it to get it off your chest, if you need some prayer, some encouragement, some lifting up, that's what this time is for. Jim and Jess, again, have mics for you in-house people. Just raise up your hand. And again, if you're online, drop your heartaches in the YouTube comments or the Facebook comments, wherever you're joining us from, and we'll join you there. Let's take 3 minutes. This time is yours.
Hi, I'm Amy, and I am blessed to have my daughter here from college and her boyfriend and my best friend. I'm a loved one of an addict who is missing. This is his 4th rehab this year. He came out of rehab 3 days ago, was supposed to go to sober living, and didn't show up. So he's been gone ever since.
Prayers for you, Amy. I'm glad you're here with family and friends.
Hi, my name's Saman. I just want to lift up anybody and everybody that the Christmas holiday season is not always fun for them. There's a lot of hard in our community, and sometimes this time of year is kind of sad and heavy. So just wanted to lift up prayers for everybody. Know you're not alone.
Thank you for that, Saman.
Hi, I'm Sarah. My 14-year-old son is currently at a treatment program, and this will be my first Christmas without my son. I miss him. So if you could pray for him and send him love, that would be wonderful.
Prayers for him. And prayers for you, Mama Sarah.
Hi, I'm Kim. Just lifting up my daughter, Demi. She turned 34 Wednesday. She's on the streets again. I just want her to get well. Prayers for her, please. Prayers for her. Thank you.
Yeah, lifting her up. And you.
Hi, I'm Jennifer, and I just want to lift up prayers for our friend Katie, who's had some medical issues recently. So just praying for her and her family.
Yep. Prayers for Katie. Thank you for that, Jennifer.
Hi, I'm Jimmy Reed, Leila's fiance. So I would like to continue praying for the people in the streets. We're reaching a lot of people right now. We don't believe there's bad people out there. We just believe they've made some bad choices. So we're doing really good. We'll just continue praying for them. They're reaching out their hand. We're there. So continue praying for them, please.
Prayers for all of them. Thank you for lifting them up, Jimmy.
I'd just like to send some prayers to my sister. I just got home from my 2 weeks of taking care of my mom. She has dementia, and she's failing pretty bad. And my sister's sick, too. So she's trying to take care of her, and it's really a tough road.
Prayers for the family.
I'm going to take it real quick. Prayers for her, too, because she dedicates her whole entire life pretty much in Wyoming, half of the year basically, to her mom, so she can stay in her home. So prayers for both of them.
It's a family thing. Yeah. Lifting up the family. Did we? Yeah.
My name's Leila. Prayers for my mother-in-law, who's also battling dementia, and for our brother Logan. He wasn't feeling too good today, and he's up there in age. So if we could just keep him in your prayers.
Absolutely. Thanks. Thank you, Leila. Thank you, Jim and Jess. Do you have the mic? Oh, you gave it away to the singers. Thank you, Jimmy. You're the best mic passer we've ever had here. I mean, absolutely the best. Tammy, you want to join me up here for one more moment to join with our online people? Tammy Kennedy, ladies and gentlemen. All right,
I love you, Leila. You know what I love, though,
What do you
is
love?
we can come together on Christmas Eve, and we said from the beginning of Free that we don't sugarcoat.
Yeah.
And so many people show up to Christmas Eve, and it is so put together. And I love that we can share our hearts and where we are and meet each other where we are today. So thank you for sharing.
Yeah, and I also heard tonight, and I'm well aware of this, the hearts of family members and friends break when addiction pulls people away, pulls that sheep away to wander off, and hearts break. And I heard the prayer, Saman, that For many people, it's a heavy time. So continued prayers and online people.
Hi, Mike. Prayers for my wife. She will be having surgery on Monday. It's her 4th one on her leg this year. Hope it's the last.
All right, lifting her up, Mike. Glad you're joining us tonight. Ashley says, I have put myself in a terrible situation and have to face legal consequences. I'm scared and need prayers. Also prayers for the people that I hurt along the way, specifically for Jennifer. Ashley, it sounds like a rough spot, and you're owning things, and prayers for you in this journey.
Renee says, I was let go from my job this week. The holidays are already tough for me. Being let go has added so much stress.
Yeah, prayers for you, Renee. I'm glad you're joining us tonight. MJ Manivas says, prayers for a father who is in ICE facility to be able to come home for Christmas. Yeah, lifting that father up and all other moms and dads and family members in that same position. Thank you for lifting them up, MJ. Glad you're joining us tonight. And I think that's all.
I think so.
Thank you, Tammy. I'll take that up here. I know we usually pray at the end, but can we pray together now? Because we talked about St. Francis earlier, and I thought how appropriate to pray the St. Francis prayer together, also known as the 11th step prayer. So I would just encourage you to open your hands for a moment. Maybe you're opening yourself to the light that's been chasing you, the light that's finding you, the God who makes room for you. And if you don't know the St. Francis prayer, it's on your screen. We'll pray it together. It goes like this. Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. Where there is sadness, joy. O divine Master, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive, it is in pardoning that we are pardoned, and it is in dying that we are born to eternal life. Amen. And let me just say this to you all. If you have been impacted by the mission here of breaking the silence of addiction, well, I think most of you know, but let me remind you, we are funded by you, the people. So we do rely upon your generosity here. It's what keeps the whole thing going. If you would like to donate free, there's a few different ways you can do it. You can download the app. It's free to download. All of our content's on there. Messages, guest storytellers are on there. There's a giving button. You can give one time or set it up to do weekly or monthly, however you want to do it. We're grateful for all of it. You can go directly to the website as well, freerecoverycommunity.com, and do the same thing there. For those of you in-house, there are giving kiosks outside both set of doors for you cash and check type people. We still take those things around here. And don't forget, just outside this door where Ben is, there's the giving kiosk, the kind kiosk. And it's the one tap, tippy tap, tap-a-roo system. You just tap the card, and it's an easy, fun, safe way to give. Did I say it right, Carrie? Woo! And for those of you that participate in that, thank you so much. It makes a huge difference here. We are very grateful. And now I assume each of you, you have a candle that you get to hold in your hands. And let me just give some brief instructions as Sarah and Bella lead us in Silent Night. Okay, here's what's going to happen. Ben and Carrie are going to have lit candles. They're going to come to the ends of each aisle. And if you are the unlit one, you can do whatever you want. And here's what I would encourage you to do. You are the one who dips onto their flame. When I dip, you dip. Baby, we dip together. Nah. You are the one who dips onto their flame. If yours is lit and you dip, well, what happens on your neighbor's lap or your own lap? Wax is going to go everywhere. Let me say one other thing. So again, if your candle's lit, hold it upright. At the end, when we all blow out our candles together, here's what you ain't going to do. Because where's wax going to go? It's going to go in that person's hair in front of you. Or if you don't have hair, you're going to have wax on your head, and that ain't going to be fun. So what you're going to do is watch this. The gentle blow with a hand. That's how you're going to do it. And we're going to light up the world together because God's light shines in the darkness. God's light makes room for you. And I'm going to light this candle in the middle to remember all those who are still out, all those who aren't with us today, all those who are stuck in this brutal disease of addiction. We remember them. We pray for them.
Check, check. Oh my God.
Silent night, holy night, all is calm, all is bright, round a young virgin mother and child, holy infant, so tender and mild, sleep in heavenly peace, sleep in heavenly peace. Silent night, holy night, shepherds quake at the sight, glory stream from heaven afar, heavenly hosts sing hallelujah, Christ the Savior is born, Christ the Savior is born. Silent night, holy night, Son of God, love's pure light, radiant beams from thy holy face, with the dawn of redeeming grace. Jesus, Lord, at thy birth, Jesus, Lord, at thy birth. Silent night, holy night, all is calm, all is bright, round yon virgin mother and child, holy infant, so tender and mild, sleep in heavenly peace, sleep in heavenly peace.
The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it.
My brothers and sisters, light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. And your light, God's light, doesn't just shine, it makes room for all people. Merry Christmas.